Hey, BassGeek here, and you know that I guarantee you will catch bass on this. But sometimes you got to tweak it, so let me show you how. I pretty much guaranteed you that you will catch a bass. It doesn't matter if you're on a pond, on a river, on a stream, on a lake. It doesn't matter where you're at in the wintertime and how tough the fishing is. If you will pick up one of these and you will grind, and I do mean some days you're going to have to grind. I mean, you're going to have to throw it out there. You're going to have to tick the bottom, and you're going to have to grind. Just grind. But a swim bait will catch you bass all winter long. But sometimes you got to tweak it out, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite winter rigs for swim bait fishing. Now, if there's one thing on God's green earth that I feel like I'm pretty good at, it is swim bait fishing. You know, I discovered swim baits years and years ago, and we're not even talking about hard swim baits. I'm talking about soft plastic swim baits. But I will say this, a lot of people have picked up the finesse swim baits, or the big swim baits. It seems like one or the other. Don't discount these puppies right here. Your 5, your 6-inch swim baits, a lot of people still don't throw those, and they get a ton of bites. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about rigs for winter swim bait fishing. So one thing I'm going to tell you to have tied on literally from the middle of fall until the middle of spring, and that's going to be an A-rig. And believe it or not, this is one of my favorite A-rigs to use. This is the Big Daddy Baits Tennessee rig. This is the baby version. It's one of my very favorites, especially in the fall when they're chasing after, you know, I'd probably put a little smaller baits on there, but when they're chasing smaller schools of shad and smaller baits, this is definitely one that I'm going to go to. This is one of my favorite clear water baits. This is by Ramsey. This is a ghost shad. This is by Ramsey Baits. He's a great guy that's local to me, makes some great swim baits. So we're going to talk about your mid-size soft plastic swim bait. During the wintertime, these bad boys work. Now, one of the keys to this is you're going to have a super soft swim bait because they'll get stiff. But I'm always going to put it on a ledge head. This is something that I love to run low to the bottom, tick in the bottom. You sit and just barely swing that, you can see the head action move because of the weight. But a bigger bait sometimes is going to call up some bigger bass. In my area, a ribbed swim bait, very much like the Kitech Swing Impact Fat, is always a good choice. And 90% of the time, I'm throwing a 3.3 or a 2.8. Rarely during the winter time, unless it's late winter, do I get up to where they seem to really want to be biting that 3.8 or bigger. Now, if you've got gizzard shad, that's when you want to start throwing those bigger ones. And if you can find largemouth, there is a great big swim bait bite during the winter time, but that is a whole nother video. One of my favorites, of course, is this one right here. Now, you've seen it 100 times. That's an angler tungsten head on there. Believe it or not, I love a black head on these. I don't know why, it just seems to do well. Now they've got a green one if you want to throw a green pumpkin, if you're around some panfish, bluegill. This is the Winnow by Nico. And you know, with these baits like this, your exposed finesse hooks, you know, another great head that I love is the Angler Tungsten Eclipse head. This is a tungsten head, and this is, of course, one of my favorite finesse swim baits. This is the Armor Shad Paddle Tail, and I'll throw those pretty deep. And if I want a little bit bigger, but smaller bait, this is also by Ramsey's right here, and this is a Ledgehead, micro Ledgehead. Still got a pretty good shimmy to it. I love to contour banks with these. If I'm fishing a point, I'll sink these down to the bottom, slow roll them, and contour that bank. Throw at a 45 until I know what the depth level those bass are in. So if I don't have, you know, electronics, I'm not seeing them on the bottom, I don't have live scope, you can fish it over, you know, small brush. You can fish it, you know, over grass and through some sparse grass. But this right here is probably one of the most deadly swim bait rigs that you can throw during the winter time. Now let's talk about belly weighted, underspin, and regular baits. These are baits that I really love to run down brush and through sparse grass during the winter time. Grass edges, man, throw these right along that grass edge, parallel these, and you are going to get destroyed. Now, little something as far as underspins. I know this is a swim bait video, but as you get into colder water, I do like to throw more of a straight tail. So a straight tail on the underspins, it's a little more subtle, and a lot of times it'll get a lot more bites as the temperatures get colder. Now let's talk about underspins and top spins. Finesse swim baits are the way to go 90% of the time. This is the Ledgehead Tennessee River Bling Micro. It is actually a small underspin for them. They make some massive ones, and let me tell you, they work. I've been meaning to do a video on that. One of my favorite baits, and I'm telling you, this is probably one of my go-tos, and that is the Kitech Swing Impact Fat. Just a great bait for wintertime. What's great about this is you can bend this down, and you can even put a treble hook or one of those treble spins on there, just like that. So what you end up with is something to where if they're not wanting it completely and they're swiping, or they're swiping at the blade, you got them. The good thing about these, this is the top spin by First Gen. And the great thing about this is that it's pretty weedless, and so you can fish it through some brush, some grass, and that little thing is going to get bit. Open water, it's a good, diverse little bait that they haven't seen a whole lot. This right here will come over it, but you want to keep it probably above it most of the time. Now, if I'm throwing, like I said before, the belly weights, listen, I'm going to tick, I'm going to get it down in the brush, depending on the size line that I'm throwing. And in the wintertime, it's always best to downsize. So even again, when I'm throwing these most of the time around or over brush or grass, I'm gonna throw it on probably 6-8 pound test line. This bad boy has been my go-to probably over the past year or even two. This is Megabass Okashira screw head, and this is the Destroyer Baits jar head. These things are amazing, and if you've seen my short, you'll know, but if you look at that blade, it's actually off balance, and that's a key to having a good one. It's not the vibration, it's the vibration because it's off balance, which gives it a nice little shimmy when it's coming through the water. These are a little more subtle than an underspin, and again, this is something else that if I'm using, we're probably, as it gets colder, going to put a straight tail on. But try these out. Listen, there's nothing more subtle than a small finesse swim bait during the wintertime. I'm telling you, there is nothing better. If you bang the banks, you're going to catch fish, you're going to find fish, you're going to keep moving. It is a great little bait. Listen, all you geeks out there, you are incredible. You know I love every single one of you, and I want to say thanks to you for doing what you do for me. It has been a pretty incredible ride, and we get closer and closer every day thanks to you for me to be able to live my dream. And I hope every single one of you guys live the dream through me if you can't do it, because the only reason I get a chance or even have thought about maybe being able to fish for a living is because of you. Thank you. Now, as always, questions and comments in the comment section below. If you got questions about these, how to use them, how to retrieve them, I know we just kind of went over them, just kind of a high overview. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. 100% Watch Squad. Hey, hashtag that 100% Watch Squad down in the comment section below. And as always, you geeks rock.